What did you call me? No, I ain't deaf, motherfucker. You called me Indigo. You can practice for 5 hours straight on an instrument, but can't take the little bit of time it takes to know the difference between me and your other woman. I ain't dumb. I do know you have another woman. What was Clark and Indigo mad about again?
Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Tyra here with another struggle review, here to discuss Mo Better Blues. Now this movie is from 1990. It's directed by Spike Lee. It stars Denzel Washington, Joy Lee, Cindy Williams, Wesley Snipes, you know, all the other Spike Lee staples. Before I get into why I feel like, you know, Bleek Gilliam kind of got a bad rap, I need you guys to drop down and subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'm going to give you guys a moment to do that, and then we're going to come back and discuss all things to put some music to my troubles and call them Harlem Blues. Harlem. She was so dramatic, so damn dramatic. Hopefully subscribe to see more of me. Let's get into this movie. Now, I will not go all in on Spike Lee. I feel like I've doted over Spike Lee and all his greatness enough on my channel, with this being probably the 4th movie that I've reviewed by him. So let's just get into the movie. Y'all, this movie is like jazz personified. If you are familiar with Spike Lee, then you know that his dad was a jazz musician, Mr. Bill Lee. He touches here and there on a lot of his films. My favorite being School Days, you know, that last score that comes up and, you know, Lawrence Fishburne runs up and says, "Wake up!" That whole crescendo that's happening all up and through there, that's Bill Lee. Now, the jazz here is performed by Terence Blanchard, Branford Marsalis. There's so much Mal Davis here, so much, you know, A Love Supreme, all that good John Coltrane. Like, it's just all here, and it is so good and so appreciated. I wasn't aware or introduced to any jazz in my household, so if it wasn't for movies like this, I wouldn't even know what goodness sounds like. Thank you, Spike. Now, we immediately get into those synonymous Brooklyn brownstones that Spike Lee loves to shine a light on in all of his movies. And we get into a little, young, small Bleek Gilliam. Now, we only get a small window, literally, of, you know, time with Bleek and his mom and his dad. But it's really important here because, you know, of course we have the, you know, Spike Lee loves a good stoop, like, "Hey man, can you come outside, Bleek? I said I'll come out after I finish my lesson." Oh, you know, we gotta have a good moment. But more than that, you know, he's meant to play the scales by his mom. Now, that little small session we got with him and his mom just really made me feel like, you know, not only did that, you know, contribute to his obsession with the trumpet because he was forced to play it at a very young age in practice, but it really, you know, made him feel some type of way as far as women, you know, were concerned, and his little, you know, persona he had towards women throughout the film. Like, I feel like that had, you know, something to do with his mom, because, you know, we have data. Mind you, little young Bleek Gilliam's attitude is stank, just bad, but nobody's checking him on it. Nobody's correcting him on it. All he is made to do is just be perfection on the trumpet. But I still hate it. Like, who asked you? Play the trumpet. Who are you calling a sissy? You're a sissy. Your mama's a sissy. Like, what? Get in the house. And then we cut into present day, and we have, you know, an older grown-up Denzel Bleek Gilliam, you know, giving us that say hey. Do 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 do. You thought just because we were doing a movie and it was mostly jazz that I wasn't gonna have no songs to sing? You were sadly mistaken. But we really get into Denzel. Denzel does an amazing job here, really giving us the feel that he's really playing that trumpet. Like, he is very committed. The hand gestures are there. The face, you know, it look like that vein popping in your neck and in your forehead. He had all of that going on, and Bleek is everything here. He has his band. He has, you know, his loyal fans that show up to the club. And he also has Wesley Snipes, aka Shadow, taking long ass solos and wanting to be in the forefront. Like, you should have known Wesley couldn't be trusted. How you gonna want to be a leader in your name, Shadow? Get back there and stay in my shadow. Now we even have Bugging Out and Radio Raheem all up in the band. Everybody was here, y'all. Even though everybody else in the band is content, we have, you know, Shadow with his extra solos, but more so than that, the band still sounds wonderful, and Bleek is still the main attraction. But we also have Shorty, aka Giant, aka Spike Lee, feeding into Bleek's ego constantly. It's your band. It's your band. It's all about you. Why are you taking a solo? What you need to talk to him. It's all about you. It's all about who? It's all about you. All of this extra, you know, gratification for Bleek when he clearly has ulterior motives to do so. But we leave, you know, that little session. It's nothing. I love how, for the most part, and this goes, you know, holds true all the way to the end of the movie, even though the band, mainly Bleek and Shadow, had their riffs and their confrontations throughout the band, and they had all this banter, they still talked, they still joked around, still respected each other as men and musicians. But what you not gonna do is, you know, step in, get back in. Shadow, you're my shadow. But then we get into Bleek's women. We get into Miss Joy Lee being Indigo first, and we really see, you know, how these women are completely split down the middle. Of course, we have Indigo. She has, you know, the natural hair. She's a teacher. She's conservative. She's dark-skinned. Everything that Miss Clark Bentecourt is not. And I love how Spike always sneaks in, you know, Muslim and, you know, references. We have Bleek, you know, getting up, doing his, you know, morning prayer and all that good stuff. More than that, though, we make a point to acknowledge that Bleek is a dog. My mother always told me never to date a musician because I would be inviting pain and heartbreak to my doorstep. We are known right away that these women know exactly who he is, exactly what he has to offer, and exactly what he does when you are not in his presence. You know, you're a dog, Bleek. You're a good doggy, but you're a dog. Well, you know, with me, it's a dick thing. A dick thing, a D-I-C-K thing. Yeah, a D-I-C-K thing. He already told you what it was. Bleek was a lot of things, but wasn't, for the most part, a big liar. You knew what I was about. You know what it was, but you're here in my bed. Okay. We also, you know, make a point to, you know, have little in and out moments with Bleek's dad. Now, for the most part, he doesn't really say a whole lot. It's like he's a man of few words. You can tell, you know, the mom has passed on, but he still, you know, maintains a really good relationship with his dad, and they have respect. Most of the time we have the dad there, you know, he's dropping as far as memories or just, you know, to bring home that stuff that Spike wants to say in his film that aren't really relative to the story, just to say, you know, I'm tired of seeing 16-year-old mothers pregnant and things like that. And just to, you know, really build rapport for the respect that he has for his dad. But he's just, you know, not that main thing. This is about those women in this triangle. Then we jump right back into Bleek and his love for his instrument. He doesn't even need, you know, the instrument to practice. He owns it up, you know, he takes care of it, but we're hitting this, you know, we have that long, you know, that round motion shot. Like, I don't even need to touch it anymore. I can practice in my mind. And you know, he has a time and I'm on schedule and I'm doing this, at which he is interrupted by Miss Clark. Clark, why are you ringing my doorbell? Because I want to see you. But you know what time it is. What time is it? 1:00 p.m. So what does that mean? That means you're practicing. So, and I want you to let me up. Like, she is the total difference from Indigo. She's really, outspoken. She, has fair skin. She has straightened hair. Very, very sexy. Very, opinionated. And unlike, right away with the Indigo situation, where they have, a mutual understanding and relationship outside of, music. She loves his music, but I'm not, engrossed in it. I'm not coming to the club to hear you play. But then we have Clark. Not only does she come to the club to hear him play, but she takes a great interest in the band because she wants to be a part of the band and sing lead on songs. And he is just like, yeah, girl, no. But more than that, just like Indigo, we have her acknowledge, don't say, make love. Because what we do is not make love because you don't love me. So what do we bone? You've been more imaginative. I want a man who's, not indecisive, a man that knows what he wants. But since you're not that, I'll settle for some of that more better. Keyword settle. You were already settling. They knew what it was. Like, then we get into this whole, we get into that Miles Davis kind of blue. Do, 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 do. Like, oh, I love, he, makes that camera go around, that little panning shot. We even have them kiss with the earring. I don't know what that was about. I was like, okay, like, you could choke, but y'all freaky or whatever, keep it up. But we see, how serious he takes his craft, even though they're making love and getting it in the heat of passion. Indigo, I'm messing him up already. Clark bites his lip and it's just like, oh girl, no, don't fuck with the lips. You can fuck anything else. Don't touch my lips. This is how I make my living. Tripping. Now, after we leave, Bleek clearly telling her out of his mouth, my music is first, everything else is secondary. We get into more of Giant. Now, with the movie just really starting, we've probably had 3 to 4 people tell Bleek, you need to get rid of Giant as your manager. All the way from, the women in his life to the people in the band. And we finally get to see why. He has a severe gambling problem and he gambles on sports games and this and not just small, like damn near thousands of dollars that he does not have. He has an addiction. But we also get into that just not being the sole reason of why his management is poor. He has got them booked at, the Underdog by this overly super duper duper Jewish club owners. Now, I spoke a little bit on this with my Jungle Fever video and his depiction of, the Italians. This took it to a whole new level and up a notch with these, I'm going to say characters, because these were characters of Jewish men. Like, they were like overly zealous, fast talking, greedy, money. Ha ha ha. Yeah, I want the money. No, add it. Oh God, this is so greedy. Oh, money. Like, going back to watch that and really see how Spike Lee decided to depict these Jewish men, I swear it was like money, dreidel, like like it was very off-putting. And I just feel like Spike was just like, you know what, hey, our brothers and sisters have been depicted and been diminished and mocked all kind of ways on screen forever. If I'm gonna put a depiction, if you Italian, you Jewish, and you in my movie, dreidel. Now we get into the bouncers out in front of the Underdog. In this little scene, he only has like 4 lines, but it just made me miss Charlie Murphy so much for his presence and his voice. Like, stop checking your time, Max boy. We don't move this rope. Ain't nobody coming in until we say so. Who told you got a butt? You don't got a butt. How about I kick you in your flat back once? Like, funny. Then, of course, you know, we got to put that 5%. 5%. It's not 5%, brother. It's 5%. What is 5%? 5% of the population who knows what's going on. 5% of the population who's no longer dumb, deaf, and blind. The Asiatic real black man. Like, you know, we have to put all of that in there. And I love it. I fucking love it. Now, once Giant gets into the club, after, you know, we kick him in his flat back once, we get into him not only being a bad manager, but him just being a little shitty person all around. He has become very comfortable in his role. He, you know, speaks to people any kind of way, very disrespectful, really is, you know, looking out for Bleek's best interest, though he's, you know, in the same boat as all the other band members. He's only looking out for self. But Bleek just doesn't listen. Bleek is all in his own bubble, and with Giant at his side at all times, feeding into his ego, he can't see, you know, the feet in front of him. Then we get a little jungle fever interlude, courtesy of Lefty, aka Bugging Out, when he has a white girl in the dressing room. Hey, get that bitch out of here. Like, really, Giant? Like, I love that little session they have where they are, even though, you know, they're really talking down to Lefty, and it's like, you know, it's because she's white. She's good to me. I love that Lefty, you know, defended his woman. She's good to me. She's good to me. So don't disrespect her. She's good to me. Like, shut the fuck up. But I love that they have that moment of just really uplifting black women. Dark black women. Like, we don't see that a whole lot in film, and it's really, you know, played for laughs, but just to hear all of these men go, you know, I love me a strong sister, you know, they put that damn queen, oh, this is the queen, you take the queen over there and do whatever the hell you want to do with it. She went to the Sorbonne. You probably don't even know what the Sorbonne is. I do know what the Sorbonne is. You can get it on 105th Street. Like, whack, white women on my wall, whack. Like, Spike Lee's acting can be real dry sometimes. Whack. So, what is it? Is there a point to the story? There is no point. Just keep that croissant eating half out of here. It's croissant. Like, I love that. Now, we also have a quick moment with, you know, Bleek and his two women, but they are, you know, used for a lot here. Not only do we have, you know, him approaching my butter bean, my pumpkin pie, the apple of my eye, spicy, two-leg chicken and a biscuit. Like, he approaches Indigo, and with the gist of their conversation, you really see that they talk a whole lot, and they really have a genuine relationship as far as, you know, the way that they communicate with each other. So far to go, you know, Bleek, what would you do if you couldn't play anymore? And he lets us know up front, I probably, you know, roll up in a corner and die. I don't know what I would do. This is all I know how to do. So if something happens to where I couldn't, but we switch to Clark, and, you know, she's, you know, steady trying to entice him. You know, I've been taking my lessons. I'm trying to get in the band, like the band. Clark is really about, you know, really good, passionate sex and business. Like, I'm trying to get in the band. And he, like, completely brushes her off and ignores her. Is clearly not interested in her being in the band, so much that I love that we really get into his character when we have her really trying to talk to him, and he completely tunes her out, and she's just talking and her lips are moving, and it's just like, girl, no. Oh, the genius in his work, very much so. Bleek thought in many ways that his shit didn't stink. But with him being that way, he had every right to be that way because this was his band. But it was just like, bruh, like, give someone else an opportunity outside of yourself. And he just was not interested. Now, after we leave brief moments of, you know, Shadow having to replace a whole box of condoms and having not only Giant return the album, but smell his sheets. Like, if you gonna be a hoe, at least wash your sheets. If you gonna cheat, like, at least do me the justice of washing the sheets. Like, bruh. But more so than that, we have Giant upping the ante and, you know, not only placing $100 or $200 here, but he's placing, like, you know, $500 a game and $500 a team. Like, little man, you don't have no money. Now, after we leave more of Bleek interchanging Clark and Indigo like you change your draws, we get into pop top 40 love R&B on the smooth tip intermission love. We get into that song, but more so than that, we get into more of the band being unhappy and Shadow speaking up for the band. Now, even though Shadow was a hater and he did want Bleek's position, he was very much so in the right to go, hey, we need more money. We're packing them in. We're not getting paid a whole lot. We need new management. Our management is only thinking of themselves, not really thinking of you. If he's not thinking of you, he damn sure not thinking about us. But Bleek is, very egotistical, very, one-track mind, whose name is on the marquee. You hear so much talk about the marquee. Anytime anybody has anything to say, we have to bring up whose name is on the marquee. Bleek Gilliam Quintet. Quintet. I didn't even know what a quintet was until I watched this way back then. Quintet. Now, after we get into, pop top 40 love and them performing the great song and Bleek doing really, really well, giving, that spoken word and I want to swim in it. Go, boy, go. We have, all that good stuff. We get into Indigo and Clark showing up at the club, same time, in the same red dress. Like, how full of shit do you have to be to get us? Like, you want to fuck with us both? Cool. At least give me a different color dress. They both show up and Bleek being so smooth, doesn't even break a sweat. It's just like, I can fix this. Who, me? You think I got this? I hate how, he was like, yeah, I made you that bet, told you not to buy my dress. Yeah, you owe me $50. Give me my $50. First of all, you always borrowing money. I ain't giving you shit. But you just see how engrossed he is in giant and doesn't recognize the poor behavior in his friend. Gives him the $5. And I love, when he goes and it's just so smooth and, hey, babe, I thought you didn't like clubs. And yeah, I like her dress, Bleek. Who, huh? Yeah, I didn't tell her to come. She showed up on her own and called me. What you want me to do, baby? You look nice. Kiss. Smooth. But on the other hand, you have Shadow sitting at the table with Clark. And though Shadow was a hater, he was speaking some knowledge into her ears. Like, hey, this is all cool and everything, but what about your music career? What is Bleek doing to help anybody? When did Bleek ever help anyone but himself? One day you're going to have to let all this love shit go. I like that dress. It's hot. Like, if he doesn't respect you, then you don't need him. That was real shit. Now, did he have his own motives and agenda and all that good stuff? Of course he did. But, I love when he gets over there and he's like, what you want me to do? You want me to ask her to leave? Yes, ask her to leave. No, I can ask her to leave. She can't. Dude, just so poor. It's just like, what are... Speaking of Miss Clark, Miss Cinda Williams, there is a tendency to overact in a lot of the scenes in this movie. And it's just, what are you thinking? Like, all of that and all the extraness with the love scenes and her facial expression. Like, it was just very, very extra to me. Maybe it was just me. But you have him really have a moment of being caught in the middle, and you have him constantly putting on that damn lip chap. Last time I looked at Clark's naked body, I didn't see your name anywhere. I didn't see it on her. I didn't see it anywhere. And then we get into Tunji by Coltrane in this severe love triangle to the point that Bleek can't even tell the difference between these women now when he's having sex with them. I love the lighting in this shot. The lighting in the movie as a whole, especially when the credits and the names are coming up in the very beginning of the film and we have, the instrument highlighted in the shadows, like, great job. Like, it just looked, this is a very beautiful looking film, but that lighting to have, Indigo and him, and you know, them in these different colors in his face at a half point, especially when he gets to the point where he calls the women by the other woman's name, and everybody just we have, you know, that back and forth. It really is a great shot, and it's great, you know, the way that he shot it, where the women are pretty much saying the same things and he's giving the same response. Do you remember saying that you cared? Yeah, I remember that. Well, if you care, then why the fuck are you still fucking Indigo? I've had it, Bleek. I don't want to be disrespected by you. Like, they're just taking whole different approaches. Like, but both of them are just at their wits' end to go, you know, pretty much make a choice. It's either me or her. You already know what it is. You know, if you can't hang, fine. If you can't, like, I can't hang. Fine, let's not pretend anymore, like we're just done. And I love, you know, we kind of just have Clark walk out, but when Indigo walks out, he goes to lift his trumpet and he puts it down just to go, you know, hey, maybe I am having a second thought. But of course, still all about the trumpet. And then at this point in the movie, we really get into really cool, surreal, different shots, because we really get into Giant and him being on the run and people really looking for him to pay back his debts, and him needing money, him trying to, you know, convince people to give him money, him trying to, you know, convince Bleek to give him money, and it's just all about that. But you get, you know, tracking shots of him kind of running in slow motions. You hear him, you know, being harassed and getting his fingers broken, and of course we have Samuel Jackson and rescue me, and him getting those fingers broken to, you know, see your love, daddy, from you know, That's the Truth, Ruth from Do the Right Thing, and all of that. And it's just really the movie, you know, as Spike Lee's movie do. They gotta do one of those for a second. But once we, you know, bring everything back around, and we have, you know, moments like with Bleek having a party, and of course these moments, just like with the dad, we take these moments for Spike to say things in his films that really don't have a place, but he just wants to say them, like, you know, about Black people supporting Black artists and jazz, and, you know, mostly, you know, people going to support people like a Kenny G and not supporting their own. And then of course we have that intertwining with Shadow just really wanting to have a moment with Bleek to go, you know, you're not giving me a chance. You're not giving Clark a chance. Like, give someone a chance. It's not all about you. But we also have a strong comedic presence from Robin Harris, which I didn't mention. He is in the club performing, and, you know, he's the stand-up comic, but a lot of his material being used, if you are familiar with Robin Harris, it's just a lot of his everyday, you know, stand-up comedy, you know, get your ugly woman, you know, you be careful now. It's very much him, and you can tell that Spike Lee really saw something in him coming over from the Do the Right Thing all the way up to here. He was really trying to kind of put a spotlight on Robin Harris and put him in the forefront and really have him display his comedic chops throughout the film. But unfortunately he passed, but he's in this movie a whole lot and really delivering some of that really good comedy. How severe it is and how much money he owes, and, you know, him kind of being on the run. He can't go home. People are waiting, watching outside of his house. His fingers have already been broken. It's just like, you need help. You need a lot of help. So much help that I don't think you can work for me anymore. You can't be my manager anymore. I'm firing you. You know, at this point, Bleek has gone to the managers and, you know, really it's been put in his face, not only by the club owners, your band members, family, friends, everybody. He is a poor manager. And I love, you know, that relationship they have. And it's just like, you know, even though you are my friend and we've been this to each other and we've known each other since kids, I feel like you're using me and you're taking advantage of me, and I need to recognize that and I need to fire your ass. So that was really good to see. And then we have Shadow going with his decline card to buy all this music from Clark, and just to really, like, I was like, damn, they just had broke up like 5 minutes ago. Like, he couldn't wait. Shadow was waiting on his moment to pounce. And I guess throughout the film, it was really trying to make it look like, you know, he really did have genuine feelings for Clark. But just the way he went about it and the relationship she had prior with Bleek, it didn't look good. So much so that even though, you know, Bleek is supposed to be some hard ass and just be so uncaring, he makes it a point to call both ladies. Of course, he calls Indigo and she's alone and she ignores the phone call. But when we call Clark, Clark is all it is, all in between the sheets, like the Isley Brothers with Shadow. Like, girl, you really wanted to sing lead. But they're, you know, engrossed each other, having a good time and just making all of this love. I was like, all right, Mr. Clark. Now, after we have a moment of him leaving those messages and really putting himself out there, we cut straight into, you know, a really good scene of him, you know, playing his trumpet on the bridge. And I think it's Sing Soweto, something like that by Terence Blanchard. It's a really pretty song. And it's just really a lot to just set us up to go, you know, whatever, they didn't call me back. I still have my trumpet if I don't have anything else. And of course, he has, you know, the anticipation of trying to get money together to pay off Giant's debt, because that's your responsibility, right? But prior to that, you know, we have to get into, you know, Shadow's boning Clark. What'd I say? You know, we have to put that in there. And it's just like, okay. You knew it was a problem because he had the whole scenario play out in his mind. And we have that nice shot come across. Like, Spike is like killer with, you know, the up close and personal shots. Immediately, he is furious and goes on in there with an attitude. And this happens to be the one night that Shadow decides to, you know, pick a fight about, you know, the money and all of this and the band, and they actually get into a physical altercation. We also have them go on stage once everything calms down, and they are playing Knocked Out of the Box, a very fast-paced song, so much fast-paced that when Giant gets captured by, you know, the money collectors, High Key Samuel Jackson, the goons, and they come to collect and whoop his ass because they didn't, Bleek doesn't hear anything, and he's screaming, and it's all intense, and the horns are going. Everybody sees what's going on besides Bleek and, you know, of course, the band members on stage. But Giant has burnt so many bridges and borrowed so much money and been such an asshole. Everybody is just watching the thing happen. It's just like, you know, you deserve this. I'm not stopping anything. Nobody's helping you. We're not getting Bleek. Go on and take your ass whooping like a man. But by the time Bleek gets off the stage and he gets back there and like, oh my god, they like whooped his ass by whoever did the makeup for Bleek when they got their ass whooped, and Spike, like, it was like, oh, it was like they face look real hurt. But you have him go out like he always does, sticking his neck out for Shadow when he wouldn't do the same thing for him. But he goes and he's doing it, and it's all of this and all of this good combat up until he, you know, tries to protect himself with his trumpet. I love the what is the word I'm looking for? I can't think of it right now, but his trumpet, you know, representing a placeholder for protection. And this was the one time, you know, your trumpet couldn't save you, and they actually take the trumpet and hit him in the mouth, and it just looks so hurtful, and he splits, you know, all of this up the middle. I love how they walk off like pimps, like, keep going, like, no, like, y'all just fucked people up and threw them in the garbage. I love the fact that even though him and Shadow were, you know, at each other's throat, Shadow had slept with his whole, you know, ex, Shadow was right there to go, you know, I hate that this had to be their way to be out of the contract, you know, with the Jewish club owners, and this be the reason for them to go, you know, we'll never play at this place again. But Shadow was right there to be with his friend and check on him and hold his trumpet. I was like, he is semi-real one. Like, he is so messed up, and he's, you know, really healing. But through the healing process, he is depressed, he's shut in, there's records and stuff everywhere. He just keeps envisioning, you know, what it used to be like to play his trumpet. But not only that, he's thinking about Indigo and the conversations they had, and, you know, the conversation ends in, you know, do you still love me? And we cut to 1 year later of him finally completely healing and being pulled out of his depression. But at that moment, all that he can think about is getting on stage again, and, you know, us getting into Harlem Blues. And all this one sweet spot in Harlem. Known that she was so dramatic. Love the song, but she was dramatic. But you know, Clark and Shadow are still very much so in a relationship, and they have their own band. And I love, you know, Bleek just kind of looking on and all like, wow, they really did it. They really did it without me. But not only that, they're still friends enough for him to come back a year later and Shadow give him an opportunity to sing with him and be in the forefront of his band the way that Bleek never did for him. But he can't play anymore, and it just completely shatters him. Not only that, you know, we have Giant, he's a bouncer, and we're supposed to, you know, feel some pity on him because he's going to, you know, meetings now and he's straight now. I won't sell it, Bleek, I won't sell it. You'll play again. Like, yeah, you gonna sell that shit. But we get into, you know, the main question of this film involving him and Indigo, and him going to Indigo a whole year later, at which she says, you know, you never wrote, called, returned a message. I haven't heard from you in a year. And you come back here and tell me, you know, not only to take you back, take care of you, help me, and I want a son. Excuse me? Excuse me. In no way, shape, or form did I ever think that Indigo should have taken him back. I do realize the type of character that Bleek was, and it was, you know, really big for him to go to her in that way and just be so broken and admit, you know, I need saving, save me, save my life. But I'm supposed to feel privileged that once you're at your wit's end and you have no one else to turn to, nothing else to do, no songs left to play, then you come back to me? But after, you know, he straight up harasses Indigo, because that was harassment. She asked him to leave that apartment far too many goddamn times. Get off, Bleek. Get off me, Bleek. I was like, this is getting a little, yeah, whatever. But she takes him back. She takes him back and everything is all beautiful and all that other good stuff. But we go through a whole montage of, you know, her getting pregnant, them having a wedding, everybody being there. Like, it's really, really sped up. I love the way it's shot because it's sped up like, you know, a jazz song. And we get into, I believe it's A Love Supreme by John Coltrane, and everything is moving quite fast. But we get, you know, the baby and them being married. Go through the whole Clark, everybody's at the wedding, even Clark. But everybody's really mature and they've grown and all of this good stuff. Up until we get to the hospital, we get a full-blown coochie out birth. A whole shot of the head coming out, and we get the full, you know, life experience within the span of like 5 minutes left in the film. And we get into, you know, the baby growing up and birthdays and the family, and finally the older boy getting, you know, his trumpet. And we kind of have the same scenario where the mom looks the same. We have Joy looking like the mom, and we have, you know, Bleek looking like his dad. And of course we have the same son. We have the exact same scenario. Play the scales, play the trumpet. But unlike in the beginning, Dad is sure to step in and, you know, split that time down the middle. Yes, son, you can, you know, make time and play this trumpet, but it's okay. Go outside, son. You need to go outside, and you need to have some separation away from this trumpet, because I didn't when I was your age, and it affected me to have me grow up the way that I did. And we have, you know, them look, you know, through the whole window. I love the way the window is, you know, set up, and it kind of looks like a frame and all of that good stuff. And we go off, you know, with Bleek being happy and content with no longer playing the trumpet, but now I can implement all my talents and the things that I love for the trumpet into my son, but also correct my family's wrongs that they did with me and teaching me how to play the trumpet. Good stuff. Well, you guys, that was my review for Mo Better Blues. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Going back to watch this film, it is something about going back to watch films. This whole scenario of me going back to just do Spike Lee films in general, I find that unlike before, because Mo Better Blues used to really be my favorite, and I still love it for the jazz aspects. But as far as Spike Lee's best work and him just doing a phenomenal job and me being able to really go back and really live for the story. I find that unlike before, now that's Do the Right Thing. I feel like Do the Right Thing is my favorite film from him when it used to be this one. Not that I don't like this one anymore, but it just kind of hit different as you get older. But you guys drop down and tell me what you thought about the review, what you thought about this film, and all that other good stuff. And let's get the conversation going. Please like, share, and subscribe, and all that other good stuff. I see you guys next time. Bye.